Okay, so I guess I'm as set up as I'm going to be here. You guys have to forgive the video editing here. I'm not really all that tech savvy, so uh, do the best I can. Now, I'm just going to go over some things that you'll need and some things that you don't necessarily need, but they might just make the job a little bit easier and a little bit quicker to get done. As you can see here, I have a small little bench grinder. This one was purchased from just basically a discount um, hardware store, and it's pretty small. It's good for doing small, intricate work. It makes the big grinding a little bit more time consuming. I do have a larger one, which does help with the main grinding, but I'll just show you on this one here. Aside from that, put this back. I also have a Dremel workstation here. I'll try and give you a better view of what I have going on. Um, this entire workstation can be purchased, I think, for around $50 or so. Obviously, the Dremel's not included. And let me see if I can get the camera angle a little bit better here. So, this is what I have there. This is for the fine tuning of after you're done with the main grinding and everything. I'll go ahead and put this back. And aside from that, as far as materials, let me go ahead and grab what I have here. There are different kind of metals that you can use or that you can purchase. The thing that I found works really, really well is a roll of this stuff. This is basically drain cleaner, and you can see it has the metal there. What works really well about this is that this metal is actually high carbon steel, which means that it flexes really, really well. You don't have to worry about it snapping or anything. The thickness is perfect, and I think it probably comes about, I think it's anywhere from like 15 or 20 feet, you know, something along those lines. So it works great just for cutting pieces off to make your lock pick, excuse me. Aside from that, some files work really well. And then I also have a set of some small files here. You don't necessarily need to have these if you have the Dremel. The Dremel works really well for rounding off the edges and doing that kind of work. If you don't have a Dremel and you need to use these, that's fine. It's just going to take a little bit longer to get the desired result. Lastly, there's different ways you can go about doing this, but I happen to have heat shrink tubing for the handles. You can also use Plastidip if you'd like. I'm not really a huge fan of Plastidip. I never get the results that I'm necessarily looking for, and I just think it looks cleaner using the heat shrink tubing. I usually use about 2 layers on the final product. Also, a must is eye protection. You're going to need eye protection. There's going to be sparks flying. There's going to be things all over the place. You really don't want to get this stuff in your eyes. So just get a cheap pair for 99 cents or something, and that'll do you. The other thing you'll need is a cup of water. As you're working the metal is going to start getting hot. You want to make sure that you dip your metal in the water consistently. As I showed you how flexible this metal is here, this metal won't stay flexible if you let it get hot. You need to constantly dip it in the water as you're working the metal to be able to maintain that flex. If you let it get too hot and you go and use the lock picks after you're done, there's a very good chance that they're going to snap on you. So I think I went over all the basics pretty much for everything that we're going to need. I'm going to go ahead and set up my Dremel workstation here and show you the first part of how we get started making these picks. All right, be right back.